The Senior Bowl comes to a rout. Jack Bech is named MVP and potentially Player of the Week. What a way for it to end, too, with a walk-off touchdown and a lot more that is going to get discussed here on Inside the Huddle. Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Lucas Hill. Thank you all for tuning in once again. Make sure if you're watching on YouTube, we are live officially. Make sure you hit that like, share, and subscribe button. If you're watching this on X, make sure that you hit that heart button as well as retweet to all your friends. Make sure you also post it to all those social media groups as well as we continue on in our pace for getting just over 600 followers on X. Not too long ago, we just hit over 500, and in literally a few weeks, we have gained over 200 followers, or over 20 followers since we started this. So we got a lot to talk about, guys. We got a lot that we need to discuss today, and we are really excited for today's episode. If you want to join in the show, I'm about to post a link on my Twitter right now, as soon as I get this edited. But yeah, man, and we are really excited. We are really stoked that you are here with us. Boom, there we go. Updated post has been put out. So now if you guys want to join Inside the Huddle, make sure that you click that link so that you guys can join in as we get closer and closer to the NFL draft, as we get closer and closer to what should be a rather interesting draft cycle. So let's go ahead and kind of talk a bit about what we saw during Senior Bowl week. Let's start it off slow. Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday was kind of meh kind of days. And then Senior Bowl action, that raised a lot of, hey, we need to get this guy. Jackson Dart, from what I'm hearing, most people have been labeling him as a potential top 10 pick, which I have a hard time believing. But there's no telling what is going to happen, because knowing the Lane Kiffin system at this point, and you have seen your share of quarterbacks that have come through the Kiffin system, dating all the way back to whenever he was with USC. Remember, he was an offensive coordinator when Matt Leinart was there. He didn't have any real success there. When you saw him whenever he was at Tennessee, didn't have a lot going through. When you look at what he did with USC and when he took over that program, you look at what he got with Matt Barkley. He doesn't turn out to be much of anything. He goes to Alabama. Look at what he had to work with. You look, the only real quarterback that you really saw is that, well, he worked with three of them, actually. He worked with Blake Sims in his first year. Then he worked with Jake Coker in year 2. And then he worked with Jalen Hurts in his third year before he became the head coach over at FAU. Honestly, didn't do a whole lot there. Now the Ole Miss season comes around, and you look at what he did during this era. Well, in his first year, he gets Matt Corral, who ends up being a pretty decent prospect. Was in the Jeff Levy system as well. So overall, pretty decent few years that you got with Corral. Corral goes on to be a second round or a third round draft pick after 2021. Then in comes 2022 with them. They go 8-5 this season. You bring in a brand new offensive coordinator with Charlie Wise Jr. and John David Baker. J.D. Baker is now at East Carolina as the OC, while Charlie Weiss is still there. So this is the first year that you have with Luke Altmaier. Well, what does Altmaier do? He only stays 1 year. And then he ends up losing the job to Jackson Dart. So what has Jackson Dart done in his 3 years there? Well, after transferring from USC, he puts up some pretty good numbers. And it's impressive just seeing where he is, how he has progressed. This is a guy that's consistently seen his completion percentage go up and up and up. His numbers have continued to go up as well. He's becoming more of a complete prospect. And look, I love Jackson Dart. I love what he's done. The only issue I have is can he be consistent in these big games and in these situations? Well, look at what he did in 2024. He overall had his best year. He was running the football a bit like he was in 2022 with a lot more authority and a lot more willpower. And the only thing I have is you had all these weapons. You had Henry Parrish. You had Logan Diggs. You had Ulysses Bentley. You had Juice Wells. You had Trey Harris, Jordan Watkins, Caden Prescorn, and all of these guys, Daquan Wright. But who else? Who else do you need? How are you going to perform on a team without this many star players? And you look at how he was in key games. Remember, he got sacked 14 times in 3 losses, 6 against LSU and 4 against Kentucky and Florida, respectively. When you don't have that deep threat on your team, that's going to create a lot of problems. And what that does is that it definitely doesn't help Jackson Dart's case as a top-tier quarterback. So when you have that obviously speaks volumes to a lot of teams, and that's why he hasn't really gotten the looks that he honestly should get, but unfortunately, it just hasn't come to him yet. So he had a good showing in the Senior Bowl action. He showcased his arm, he showcased his throwing accuracy, and he showcased his ability to be able to lead teams down the field. Now, will he be a QB2 in this year's draft? Honestly, the depth of the quarterback is really piss poor, to be honest with you. It's not of the level that you would expect. It's not of what you would think would be a first-round draft class. Other than Cam Ward and other than Shedeur Sanders, I just don't see a scenario where we can put other quarterbacks like Jackson Dart, like Jalen Milroe in the first-round conversation. So only 2 quarterbacks are probably going to get picked within the first round. Now, obviously, everybody knows about the Jets situation with Aaron Rodgers' his age and his contract situation, as well as with the Steelers and their in to pick a quarterback for the. So will they make a change there? We don't know yet. Anything is possible, but for me, if you pick a quarterback in the first round Yeah, I just saw the numbers. I just seen 18 of you guys show up in here. We're going to try this again at some. Probably, I want to say Monday. I just hate this laptop. So we're gonna call it a day for tonight. We're gonna call it a weekend. I'm gonna have a new laptop at some point, but yeah, man, we'll get into all this